Hi beautiful souls, welcome to my channel Elle's Temple. My name is Elle, I'm a goddess guide and intuitive tarot reader, and today I'm so excited to be bringing you a reading all about what dreams are you sowing the seeds for this Imbolc. And this is a very special reading as part of my Wheel of the Year series for my Southern Hemisphere folk. So if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, I've done a separate reading for Lammas or Lunasa, which happens at the same time, 2nd of August. So check that one out if you're in the Northern Hemisphere. But if you are drawn to this reading, the messages themselves are timeless. So whenever you're drawn to it, or if you're in another part of the world, feel free to check it out because your intuition has guided you here for a reason. So just to quickly introduce the Wheel of the Year, this is a pagan festival that basically honors and acknowledges the main seasonal shifts throughout the year with what's called sabbats or festivals. That it's just, really a good way of connecting in with the earth, connecting in with the main shifts of the year, because we're all part of the earth, we're all part of nature. So these shifts do affect us, whether unconsciously or consciously. So it's a good time to harness the energies and use the seasonal energies for to work with rather than against. So for Imbolc, this is marking the shift, the transition from winter to spring. So it's the time when you have the very first stirrings of spring. So the earth starts to wake up. You might start seeing the first little buds of flowers, things like snowdrops might start coming through. And things just start to stir a little bit. You're still kind of in those last stages of the slumber of winter, so there's not necessarily a lot of energy happening yet, but it's just those first stirrings. So it's a really potent time to start tapping into the intentions that you want to set for the year, the dreams that you have for this year ahead. And feeling into like what sort of creative projects you might want to create if you want to work with the seasonal energies. And as the light starts to increase, as the days get longer, your energy will start to increase naturally, so you can kind of really harness that energy and draw on it to actually like manifest what you really want in your life. Okay, my love, so to introduce each of the piles, we've got 3 piles here for you today. If you are drawn to the forgiveness card with compassion and kindness, card number 12, or if you're drawn to this little Montana moss agate egg crystal, you will be pile number 1, and the timestamp for each of the piles will be in the description box below. If you are drawn to the intention card with spinning fate, card number 19, and this opalite egg crystal, you will be pile number 2. Okay, and whoops, I'll just leave these up here actually because they roll around a lot. And if last but not least, if you're drawn to the new beginnings and card number 24, take a fresh look at life, you will be pile number 3, and you have a little fluorite egg crystal there. Okay, my loves, so take a moment to tune in and see which card is drawing you in. Pause the video if you need a little bit more time to choose which pile you're most drawn to. If you're drawn to more than one pile, that's completely fine. It may be that there are messages from across the piles that you just need to draw on to create your reading today. Only ever take what resonates, never force a reading to fit. You are the creator of your reality, and if you don't like a message in a reading, then you can choose to follow it or not, because you have free will. Okay, my lovelies, so I will see you in your piles. Hi there, pile number 1. Welcome to your reading on what dreams are you sowing the seeds for this Imbolc. If you chose the forgiveness card or this little Montana moss agate egg crystal, this will be your reading. So straight off the bat, pile number 1, I get the vibe that one thing you may have been working on possibly throughout the winter or the previous season is forgiveness of yourself, practicing a lot of self-love, self-compassion, kindness, being really gentle and easy on yourself, showing yourself a lot of self-care. maybe forgiving others as well, especially I'm seeing like possibly family members, particularly maybe like a mother figure it could be. I'm just getting quite a sort of maternal vibe from this card. So yeah, there may have been some forgiveness, and it's not to say that like someone necessarily did something wrong that you need to forgive. That may not be the message for you, but if there isn't anything specific around forgiveness, then it may just be an energy of going easy on yourself, like maybe just not being so hard on yourself, like kind of, self-forgiveness, forgiving yourself if you didn't do the washing up or something, or forgiving yourself if you didn't meet a goal that you wanted to meet last year, or, over the last season or something like that. It's kind of practicing a sort of sense of being very gentle with that deer there. The energy of the deer is very gentle. It's very soft. It's very innocent, nurturing. So I feel like you might have been doing some inner child healing, things like that. So that's kind of the energy I'm picking up from you. Let's have a look at the kind of seeds that you are sowing and the dreams that you might be calling in at this time. So to start off with, we have the grandmothers. Remember your roots, perspective, and trust the weavings. Hopefully you can see that card all right. Okay, we have got card number 44 with Emer, goddess of self-esteem. Okay, we have stars. You can manifest your every wish. Card number 5. We've got big, bold vision. Card number 15. And finally, we've got candle quartz and bleeding heart. Show yourself. Vulnerability, self-worth, and feminine healing. Beautiful. That card's been coming out quite a lot lately. I think there's a lot of feminine healing happening collectively at the moment. So let's just move these down a wee bit. Okay, so pile number 1. I'm getting with this trust the weavings card that there's something you're brewing. there's some idea, some possibly a creative project or a dream, a vision with that big bold vision, a goal. There's something that's like brewing at the moment that you've been sort of thinking about for a while, you've been mulling over for a while. I'm getting this like coalescing. It's like a pot that's on the stove and it's just been slow cooking, and you've been adding to it and adding to it and adding to it, and it's just been slow cooking, and all the flavors are just coalescing really beautifully, and you've been weaving together sort of lots of different ideas or something. So I'm definitely picking up a strong creative vibe from you. So with the word weavings, and we've also got the goddess here doing some kind of like crochet or something here, so, or embroidery or stitching or something. So maybe some of you do some kind of design work, or some kind of could be anything related to like, clothes or design or fashion, or it could be something related to any kind of creation where you're using your hands, so art or something where you're making something using lots of different things, you're weaving lots of different like textiles together, for example. I'm also getting the idea of like someone who's writing a book and you're weaving lots of different perspectives in, or lots of different ideas, lots of different maybe characters even, or storylines, like different, it could be with that the grandmothers and perspective. It could be like a story where there's lots of you're kind of weaving in, generations, like tales from across different generations or something. This could be completely, you'll have to comment below if this is resonating for anyone at all, because sometimes I pick up these things and I'm like, what is this about? And then someone will always invariably comment and be like, oh yeah, I'm writing a book about this and this. I'm like, oh my gosh, that was just such a random thing I got through. But chances are I have to trust what comes through. It comes through me. So I feel like someone might be having some kind of idea around some kind of like, I'm getting like multi-layered story, or like multi-layered piece of art. So like kind of collage art, or like multi-layered fabric design where you're you're weaving together lots of, or doing all these different like embroidery techniques or something like that. It's very rich, it's very beautiful, it's something that I feel like you've had a vision for a very long time, with that big bold vision. And with these young figures here, I feel like this is something that you were, you know, even when you were a kid or a young adult or something, you would sit on your bed or you'd have friends around, you'd be like, when I'm older, I'm going to create this amazing thing. Like, I'm going to be the best, whatever it is, like writer or novelist or fashion designer or, you know, chef, or like whatever it is that you're creating. Like, I'm hearing nail artist. That's really specific. That could be like one person. Floristry, I'm getting like a lot of, it's a lot of creative energy. A lot of the things I'm picking up are kind of things that use your hands. So creating something physically, like Emma's doing here with this fabric. But for some of you, it could be like, I'm also seeing someone doing stage design, prop design, theatrical kind of arts. But it's a very sort of artistic and creative energy is what I'm picking up on, and something that I feel like you have had visions for since you were younger. I'm definitely seeing here, actually, I'm noticing now she's got her hand on a book, like she's been journaling or planning her ideas for a long time, and she's got this huge library behind her. So some of you may well be writers, or you're just you've been doing a lot of study. Maybe you've literally been going to school for this particular skill, and you've been studying, you've been learning your craft for some time, or even since you were younger. Maybe some of you are autodidacts and you've just been studying it, you know, just yourself. But some of you may have done a formal qualification. But I get the idea that this is something you've wanted to do since you were a kid or since you were a young adult. It's something you've had this wish for, this big vision for. It's like you could see yourself being a star, or you wanted to like shoot for the stars or shoot for the moon. I'm kind of hearing that quote, like shoot for the moon, but even if you don't get there, you'll still land among the stars, kind of thing. And like we've got this room with no roof on, right? So it's kind of like whatever glass ceiling or whatever ceiling that you've thought might have been blocking you up till this point, it's like that's just gonna come off now. Like if you want to use this energy, you know, at the time that you're drawn to this reading, whether it's Imbolc where you are or not, but if you want to use this energy of this vision that you have, this dream that you have, you can really do it, because it's saying like you can manifest your every wish. I feel like the stars are aligning for you. So maybe there's something happening with your birth chart where like, I don't know, like Jupiter, I'm just hearing like Jupiter's doing a transit or something. I don't know. I'm not an astrologist, so I'm not gonna try and guess what could be going on with the stars, but it's something like that. It's like, you know, Jupiter, planet of luck and expansion, could be, you know, like moving somewhere on your chart that's you know, just gonna be able to, suddenly everything's gonna line up, and all your wishes for this vision that you have are gonna like just propel you, or it's like any kind of glass ceiling or any kind of ceiling that you've been up against previously, it's like the ceiling's just blown off and you can like shoot for the stars, is kind of what I'm getting. I feel like this vision is related to your work with that little bee. I'm just getting that energy of like bees are very, you know, they're often symbolic of hard work, or like, you know, teamwork, working very diligently. So I feel like this is something that you either have been working on for some time, or you have the capacity to put a lot of work into it. You have the skills, you have the talent, you have the techniques, you have the resources, you have the persistence and the determination and the perseverance to like make this vision happen, to actually bring this vision about. The only thing that I feel like might have been inhibiting you up to this point, if you know what this is and you've had this vision and it just hasn't quite gotten off the ground yet. Or maybe you've had a little bit of success with it, but on a smaller scale, and you really want to dream big, like it's saying, like big, bold vision, like really go for the biggest, boldest vision of this thing that you want to put out there. I feel like what might have been holding you back from really going after that is related to this card here, where it says show yourself, vulnerability, self-worth, feminine healing. I feel I'm picking up quite a strong fear of vulnerability, of really showing yourself, of I'm hearing that like Brene Brown, I think she has a book about, well, she's got a TED talk, I think, but also a book about the power of vulnerability. So that could be a good resource. I will try and link it below. I feel like there's possibly, and you'll all be at different stages of this, and this is a general reading, so some of you may not be struggling with this at all. You may have already done the work around this, and you may just be stepping into this phase now of really feeling confident and comfortable to show yourself. For others of you, this may be something that is a bit of a block still, and something that you just need to do a little bit more work around before you're able to like execute this vision, or before you're able to really take action on this vision and the energies that are kind of supporting you to go after this. And I feel like with that feminine healing, and we've got the grandmothers here, and forgiveness, I feel like there may well have been some wounding on your, likely from your matrilineal side, from your female ancestral line, around self-worth as a female. You don't have to identify as a female, but I feel like I'm kind of, this is what I'm picking up in particular is like feminine healing, or being comfortable showing yourself as a woman. So there may be some cultural things there. There may be something around like, oh no, women in this family don't speak up about these things, or women in this family don't show themselves, like on stage or something like that, or, and this could even be, I'm kind of getting like, it's not even necessarily like your mother said that to you. It's like maybe your mother's mother, so your grandmother said that to your mother, and that wound has kind of passed down, and then energetically it's kind of passed down to you, even though consciously your parents may have done loads of things to support you and support your dreams and be like, yeah, you can go after what you want. I hope you had that kind of upbringing. Many of us have not, but they always show that kind of thing in the movies, right? Like, sure, honey, like, we support you, we'll love you, whatever you choose to do. And I just always find that really funny, because it's very often not the reality of people's experience, especially if you've grown up with like boomer parents or older generation parents. I hope you've had that kind of upbringing. That would be great if you did. But even if you did, there's still a chance that your parents might have still had, or your mother may have still had some wounding around self-worth, around being comfortable showing herself, and that may have been modeled to you. So even though their words may have been really supportive and like, yeah, honey, like go after your vision, rah, 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 you might have still seen modeled to you blocks around feeling comfortable as a woman showing up. Like, well, not showing up, it's not so much that, it's like showing yourself, like being out, taking action on a vision, or like putting creative work out there. Like maybe your mom had a lot of creative ideas. Maybe she was someone who made lots of beautiful clothes or something in the home, like just for you kids. And a lot of people said to her like, oh, you should like sell your stuff at a market or something, or like sell it to a store, it's really beautiful. And your mom was like, oh no, like I could never do that, no, we don't do that in this family, or like no, this is just for my children or something, and kind of just played small. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's not to say there's an issue with that necessarily, if she was happy doing that. But what I feel is that wound or that block might be holding you back from going after the dreams you want to go after, and the creative passions and wishes that you have for your life, the visions that you have for your life. Because I feel like you've got a lot of creative energy that I feel like with all this kind of gold around here, it's like you could turn these things to gold. Like these could be ideas, these could be creative things that you could monetize in some way, or you could eventually make money from, or support yourself financially with, or they could be very successful. It could become your main work, if it isn't already. But there may just be this block. There may just be this little bit of work, this little piece of work around feeling comfortable showing yourself, feeling comfortable being out in the limelight in some way, or putting your work out there in some way, sharing it with the public, like especially if it's something like, writing or a theatre piece, or it doesn't even have to be any creative piece of work really. It still requires vulnerability, right? Because it's something you've vested your own energy into. It's a creative birth, and that is always like a vulnerable thing to then be like, hey world, has this thing that I made, what do you think? And open yourself up to like criticism, rejection, negative feedback, all those things, as it requires a lot of vulnerability. And actually that's to hold space for that vulnerability requires a huge amount of strength. So I feel like with that forgiveness, it may be that if that is a wound that has passed down, whether it's come directly from a parent or from a grandparent or even further back, could go like generations and generations back, right? There's a piece around forgiving, not just to sort of be like, oh, like, don't worry about it. It was fine that you hurt me in this way. Like, say if they were like, maybe you had some actual negative feedback from your parents really directly blocking you from going after what you wanted. And I'm so sorry if you did have anything like that. Again, this often comes from unconscious wounds that our parents have had. Not to justify it, but just to say that is often what happens. And the forgiveness process is it's not to do it for them, it's to do it for you. It's so that you can let go of that energy, let go of that resentment. And this brings me to this little crystal, this Montana moss agate, because this crystal is wonderful for letting go of resentment and like anger and hostility and emotional disturbance in the body. It helps like kind of clear that out and come to more sort of state of stability within and peace within. So that could be a helpful crystal to look into. Also candle quartz crystal as well. And also I'm getting rose quartz. Actually, I've got a rose quartz egg here in the reading. So rose quartz could be really helpful for self-love, self-compassion, self-kindness, self-nurturance. Really, if you have gone through any trauma as a child or a young adult around like, blocks to your self-worth, to your self-esteem, like any negative feedback that really caused wounds to those areas, then those crystals will be very helpful for that. Let me just see. I feel like for some of you, you may have a grandparent who's passed over, who's like looking down on you as you kind of weave this like creative thing together. We can see these two figures here, two grandmother figures holding their hands up towards this kind of like creative vortex. So it's like, I feel like, if this is something where especially there may have been a wound that passed down, I feel like if your grandparents have passed on, your ancestors are coming through to be like, okay, pile one, like we've got to really support pile one to like get their dreams out there, to get their vision out there, because that was something we could never do. I'm seeing someone like, I keep seeing this vision of someone in like the 1920s or 1930s, I think it is, trying to like, who wanted to go on stage. So maybe it's very specific. Some of you might have had a grandparent who wanted to be on stage, or maybe was on stage or something like that. That's quite specific, but there's definitely this support from your ancestors and from your guides, like to come out of hiding and show yourself, and to like heal any self-worth wounds, and to support you in whatever it is that you're weaving, or whatever it is that you're creating, or whatever it is that you're making, or whatever it is you have a vision for. And it'll be different for all of you, because I'm getting quite a lot of different things, but I'm definitely getting someone who's a writer. So you'll have to comment below if you're writing something. I think that's really cool. Or like dreaming up. I'm kind of getting as well with stars. It's like maybe like a film or something, like coming up with a film idea or screenplay or something, TV script, something along those lines. Okay, let's finish up with a daily ritual card. So we can have a daily ritual card for pile 1. What daily ritual can pile 1 do to help sow the seeds for their dreams? What daily ritual can pile 1 do? Woo! Okay, I love this. Woo, yes. Card number 22, magic. Magic surrounds me today. This is so beautiful. Yeah, so feeling a connection with magic, with like synchronicity, with any kind of signs you're seeing. I'm also getting, with this card, we've got this figure with her hands are out, and she's got like all this light coming up from her hands. So definitely a lot of like creative energy in your hands. So doing something with your hands could be highlighted here. Could be a very magical time to like create something physically. I'm also getting that kind of cosmic energy again. There's a lot of like planets on her dress. So I do feel like astrologically there could well be something lining up for you at the moment that's going to be quite magical. It's going to be quite a magical portal, or quite a magical time for you to take those steps to create this vision. Or at least I'm also getting maybe doing some vision boarding as well, to like a magical vision board, to sort of set the intention, like really imbue it with a lot of intention. And you know, don't just sort of put like you know, like, oh, I want to have I'm not saying you're going to do this, but you know, some people like with vision boards, they just put things that they think that sort of get brainwashed into you by society of like, oh, I'm going to put this fancy car, but actually that isn't something that they really value. So I feel like a vision board, more specifically around the sort of creative vision that you want to create, or the type of lifestyle that you want to create, with words, and like, you know, you could just imbue it with a lot of like magical intent, and like, you know, maybe do it on the next new moon or something, and like, yeah, just play around with it. You know, I have found, I would just say that vision boards that I have done in the past, like I've looked back on them years later, and like everything almost on them has shown up in my life in some way. It's incredible, down to like crazy specific things, like the exact fabric of a curtain that I've put on like a home board has ended up in my life in a flat that I've been in like 5 years later or something, or 2 years later. So yeah, like just the energy that's coming through is like, think big, you know, trust in the magic of the universe, trust in the magic of synchronicity, tap into that magical energy, trust your vision, start tuning into the intention for that vision, and allow the magic to unfold. See where it will take you, because I feel like you are going places, pile number 1. Okay, that's all the messages I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to leave me a comment below. I always love to hear from you. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the reading. It helps tell me what content is resonating, and it helps tell the YouTube thingy to send the video around, which helps my little channel to grow. I so appreciate each and every one of you who has been doing that for me. It's the best way to show your support. Also hit the subscribe button if you're not part of the community. I would love to have you here, and it helps me tune into your energy when I'm when I'm creating the readings, and hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when I next upload a reading. Thank you so much for letting me read for you today. All the best with your dreams, and I will see you in the next reading. All my love. Bye. Hi there, pile number 2. If you chose the intention card with spinning fate and this little opalite egg crystal, this will be your reading on what dreams are you sowing the seeds for this Imbolc. So straight off the bat, with intention and spinning fate and this little kind of child here, I feel like one of the things that I'm kind of getting two things through actually. One of the things I'm getting is, for some of you, you may be wanting to set the intention to become a mother. Like, you may want to conceive or be a mother in some way, whether it's like naturally having a baby or adopting or fostering or kind of giving caring and nurturing energy to something or someone. So it could be like a creative baby, for example, but I feel like there's this beautiful sort of nurturing energy that's coming through, where you're sort of you're very fertile to create something. So some of you, your wish or your dream that you may have is to actually become a mum, or a dad or a parent or something. For others of you, this is an energy of, I'm getting like you returning to a sense of innocence and playfulness and really connecting in with your inner child, because she's kind of like holding this like child out from her and sort of looking at this little baby who just looks very peaceful and very sweet, and is like spinning this sort of fate around it. And I kind of get this energy of like you're going back to the energy of when you were in this sort of innocent state, before you had all your conditioning, before you went to school, before you had all the programming and everything from society. It's like you're kind of going back to that point. So you may well be going through a bit of a spiritual awakening at the moment, or you may have just been through quite a big one, where it's kind of returning you to that like origin state, almost like the state of like when you're in kind of like being a newborn again. It's like you're going through a bit of a rebirth, where you're connecting with who you really are at your core, like the essence of who you were when you were born, before all of the sort of layers of conditioning and stuff got put on you, the truth of who you really are. And I'm just noticing all the blue behind her hair, and blue is linked with the throat chakra, which is all about your truth and aligning with your truth and being able to express your truth and being able to express yourself authentically. So I feel like there's something about coming back to the authenticity of who you are, returning to your like true self, connecting with your inner child, connecting with your childhood dreams. So any dreams you've had since you were very, very young, or any like almost like any pulls that your soul has had since you were young. You know, this could be something like, you know, maybe you have always felt the pull to live in a particular country. I'm hearing specifically France. So I get that because I love France myself. So maybe this reading's for me too. But like, you know, it could be that. Like, I remember when I went to France for the first time from New Zealand, when I was 16 on a school trip, and the minute I set foot on soil in France, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is my soul home. This is where I'm meant to live. And I was fairly young, but I knew that, you know, at that point. So it could be that type of thing, you know, it could be like some of the dreams that you're sowing the seeds for at the moment are things that you sensed from a really young age, whether it's a country you wanted to live in, whether it's a type of job you wanted to do, whether it's a creative dream that you had, whether it's that you always knew you wanted to be a mom or something, or a parent, whether it's you know, a type of partnership you wanted, whatever it might be. And it'll be different for all of you, because I'm just picking up the kind of the themes here as opposed to something very particular, because I'm getting a lot of different examples. So apply it as you will, but the general energy of this pile is like returning to I get it, I'm being shown a really interesting image of like a toy that like it goes back to its like default state before, you know, it gets taken out of the box and you can program it to do all sorts of weird things. It's like, no, you're being returned to like your origin state, your the truth of who you are, like the essence, your soul essence, before anything else was put on top of that. Like it's like a little, yeah, you're coming out of like a little cocoon. So you might have been in a little bit of a yeah, like a chrysalis time, a bit of a hermit time, a bit of a like being held, you know, in this, like, you know, this little baby is kind of like held in this wee like chrysalis kind of thing, as fate has been spinning around you. It's like you've had to unravel all of the old and then come back to sort of rebirthing yourself as this little innocent child. So returning to your innocence, returning to the wishes and dreams of your inner child is a big thing here. So let's have a look at the other cards to get some more energy. So we have got expectations, card number 12. Don't seek anyone's approval. Yes, exactly. That's definitely linking with what I was saying about letting go of all the conditioning. I feel like you're returning to your own expectations, like from when you were really little, you know. It's like things that your soul was encoded with before you came here, you know. And I feel like you know, you may well have been a very connected child in the sense that you had a strong sense of magic. You may be very connected with the elemental world, with fairies or angelic beings of light. You might have had natural mediumship abilities, something like that. Or just felt very at home in nature, or felt more at home in nature than around people, you know. Yeah, it's like you also with this wild forest here as well. It's like returning to the raw state of who you are, returning to that like wild before all the sort of conditioning and the layering and the kind of other people's expectations, other people's like ideas for your life, you know, things like that. So you may have had a little bit of a this won't be for all of you, but maybe for some of you, I'm picking up a vibe with that expectations. It's like you might have had quite strict parents, or an upbringing that was maybe a little bit on the line, and I don't want to bandy this term about, but like narcissism, in terms of like needing to fulfill very high expectations from a narcissistic person in your life or something like that. So there may have been a sort of unraveling of all of those expectations, and part of this getting back to your dreams is like, don't seek anyone else's approval, because you're just not going to get it from those sources, particularly if there is a narcissistic person in your life. It's not gonna, if it's not doing something for them, if it's not going to give them some sort of status or prestige or something that they want from you, then don't seek their approval. So there may be a little bit of like letting go of people pleasing in this pile of like, yeah, healing your throat chakra, returning to your truth of who you are, connecting with your authenticity, feeling into what is authentic to me. What are my expectations for my life? What are my intentions for my own life? What do I want to create? Or where do I want to live? Or what do I want to do? Or, you know, it's that kind of thing. So let's have a look at the other cards. I'm going to get them all out actually, and we'll go through them together. So we've got card number 36, listening for truth. Yeah, again, the truth and the throat chakra. Big theme for you. And I feel like, yeah, you're conceiving something with these 2 eggs here, and then we've got the little baby here. There's something that you're growing. There's something that's being conceived at the moment. We've got the child within. Oh my gosh, yes, exactly. The inner child, inner mother, innocence, gentleness, and tenderness. Yes, you're doing some inner child healing, I feel like here. This is like your kind of higher self looking down on your little baby self and like offering it kind of mothering. So again, this could be literal. This could be like inner mother in terms of waking up your inner mother because you want to give birth, you want to have your own child. But for many of you, this is more you going through sort of inner child healing, reconnecting with your inner child, connecting with like sort of reparenting yourself and offering yourself the support and love and nurturance and encouragement and approval that you maybe didn't get as a child. yeah, just giving yourself a lot of tenderness, a lot of gentleness, returning to that state of like innocence before any kind of conditioning or expectation was put on you from other people. So that is really beautiful energy. And then we've got Sequana, Goddess of Wishes, card number 50. This is really beautiful energy. Yeah, I feel like what you're going through a very magical time where whatever intentions that you set or whatever wishes that you have that are born from this like true place, this innocent place, this like authentic place, that will be something that will like carry you. It's like this goddess is just, she's not even sitting in the boat paddling away like crazy. She's just standing with her arms out and the boat's just like like just moving along. The rapids are just carrying her. You know, it's like I kind of get the energy of like you'll just be carried towards what you want. Once you're being really true to yourself, once you're really listening for your own truth, once you've stopped trying to fulfill other people's expectations, and you're going after what you want, and from that place of like authenticity and truth and innocence, then the wishes that you have for your life will just, they will come about. Like you will, it's like go with the flow of that energy and you will be carried to what you wish for. Oh, such beautiful energy. I love that. And finally, we've got Anandalite and Lemon Balm, integrating energies, awakening and transitioning. Yeah, so I do feel like many of you are going through a bit of an awakening at the moment. It doesn't have to be like your first awakening. Like awakening is a very cyclical thing and we can sometimes have multiple awakenings in our life. So you may have gone through one spiritual awakening previously that connected you more with your soul or your spirit, or the fact that you're you're a spirit having a human experience at this time and all of that sort of side of it. But then now you're going through another awakening that's awakening you to like your inner child and doing sort of deep inner child healing, maybe doing some shadow work, integrating aspects of yourself that were suppressed from childhood. So any kind of qualities, any kind of just aspects of your truth, like any parts of you that got cut off, that got suppressed, that got deemed unworthy, that got told, that people around you didn't want to hear those bits, or preferences that you had, or ideas you had for your life, or intentions that you had of things you wanted to do, or wishes that you had. Anything that got like kind of criticized, put down, deemed unworthy, might have been sort of cast in the shadows. I feel like that because this card here, you can see there's quite a sort of shadowy energy around, but then we've got this figure listening really carefully to the shell, and I feel like that's something you've been really trying to do. You've been really trying to honor your inner child and listen to yourself and be like, what do I really want? What do I most want to do? What is my own soul telling me? Or what is like my inner child telling me? Like, where have I cut myself off to like fulfill the expectations of others, or like please other people, and we all do this to a certain extent. Like everyone, everyone can do that, to varying levels when you're a child, whether it's to parents, whether it's to siblings, whether it's to teachers, whatever it might be. We're all social beings and we all try and fit in. And so we often unconsciously cut parts of ourselves off or suppress them, and it goes into our shadow self, right? The part of ourself that we just don't sort of want to look at because someone at some point has said that that's bad. It could be because of religious trauma, it could be cultural, it could have been because of narcissistic abuse, it could be just unwitting comments from parents when they're stressed and they're busy and they just say something reactively, and at that point it was just the worst possible thing for you as a small child to hear, and you shut down a big part of yourself and hid it away. And now you're kind of unraveling all of that and reconnecting with the truth of who you are and what you really want, where you want to go after, and reintegrating these energies, reintegrating these aspects of yourself back together. And that is going to allow you to transition with that number 5 as well. This is the number of change and transition. So there's definitely some kind of shift And if you look at the colors, even there's a lot of like kind of darker, heavier, denser colors here. And then we go through this like pink, which is like unconditional love. It's connected with the higher octave of the heart chakra. So it's that self-love, showing yourself a lot of nurturance, a lot of tenderness, a lot of gentleness. And then over this side, we've got all this blue and green, and blue, again, throat chakra. So living your truth, living your authenticity, going with the flow, authentically aligning with your path that's most aligned for you. And the green linked with the heart chakra. So what do you love? What do you most love about yourself? What do you most love to do, you know, and then kind of lining up with that essentially. So yeah, I feel like that is all the messages that I have from the cards. Let's finish up your reading with a daily ritual card. So what daily ritual compelled to do? Whoa. Oh, beautiful. Goddess, card number 14. I awaken the flow of goddess energy within me. So yeah, this is really beautiful. This is very light energy. It kind of gets like lighter and lighter if we put this on the end. It's sort of like, this is very like pinky and white and just lovely, lovely energy, very feminine energy. So yeah, connecting in with your goddess energy. So we've got Goddess Sequana here. So she's a Celtic goddess. You can call on her to help, to ask her to help you manifest your wishes. Doing other things to tap into goddess energy or feminine energy are just things that help you feel more in the flow. So, you know, movement is a big one. So dancing, anything intuitive movement, or yoga, or swimming or bathing or something along those lines, or just freestyle movement, like just getting outside, or even in your living room or wherever you've got some space, and put on some music and just freestyle move around. That moves energy throughout your body, which helps you tap into that like feminine side of yourself, that receptive part of yourself. So yeah, really connecting with that like goddess self will help you connect with this like mothering energy and be able to like offer yourself the like maternal healing that you may not have had. Or even if you did have it, like, you know, this could just still be very useful energy anyway to harness at this time to be able to align with the wishes that you have. So even if you did have, you know, a strong maternal figure or a healthy maternal figure, you can still connect with that and connect with your inner child and like, you know, align with the wishes of your inner child and align with that feminine energy, that receptive energy that like magnetizes those wishes to you. So I feel like that is all the messages that I have for you today, Pal 2. I hope that resonated for you. Leave me a comment in the box below if you did. I always love to hear from you. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the reading. It helps tell me what content is resonating for you, and it helps tell the YouTube thingy to send my readings around, which helps my channel, my little channel, to grow. I so appreciate each and every one of you who has been doing that. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already part of the community, and the notification bell so you'll be notified when I next upload a reading. Subscribing to the channel just also helps me help support my channel, and it also helps me know who my community is, so I can connect in with your energies when I'm creating these readings. Okay, my loves, thank you so much for being here. All the best with your Imbolc period and with your dreams, and I will see you in the next reading. All my love. Bye. Hi there, part number 3. If you chose the New Beginnings card with Take a Fresh Look at Life and this little fluorite egg, then this will be your reading on what dreams are you sowing the seeds for this Imbolc. So part number 3, straight away I get the vibe that you might be looking for a bit of a fresh start. I feel like maybe for some of you, you might have been coming out of a bit of a, like either a dark night of the soul or possibly a breakup or something that has some sort of stagnation, or something that maybe has gone a little bit stale, or something that hasn't been really moving or progressing, and just getting quite a sort of stagnant energy, like a kind of, I'm seeing like with the winter trees here where nothing's growing. kind of thing on this side, but then it's kind of moving over to the spring side here, and we've got the egg and like the little blossoms coming through, and this figure that's sort of behind a veil. So I kind of feel like maybe you've been a little bit shrouded kind of thing, like a little bit held back or in a bit of a hermit mode, or going through some sort of a period of being, I'm sort of seeing the Hanged Man card really in tarot, for those of you that know tarot, which is all about sort of being in a bit of a state of surrender, having to like change your perspective on things, see things in a different way. And often it can feel like you're being held back from something, because it's like temporarily, it shows the figure with their legs tied to the top of a tree and they're hanging upside down, and like nothing essentially looks like it's moving. So that might have felt a little bit frustrating for you up to this point, where maybe it's felt like energetically for a long time you've been in sort of a winter period in your life, and you're just longing for some like fresh new energy. Maybe you've been in a bit of a funk mental health wise, or with like sort of like maybe patterns of thinking, or sort of, I'm getting this energy of like with the fluorite egg, like needing to clear out clutter or clear out old stagnant ways of thinking, and refresh how you look at things, change your perspective, refresh your scenery, refresh your room, refresh your mind. You know, it's kind of like bringing in a fresh energy. That's the kind of like what you want to be tapping into this Imbolc in order to sow the seeds for your dreams. So let's have a look at the other cards to see what else is coming through. So I do feel like though there is a new beginning that is just around the corner for you, but it's just a case of like you might have been focusing on this like winter part of your life, and so it's just trusting that there is a new beginning around the corner. So let's have a look at the other cards. We have got release the petals, transformation, death and rebirth, shedding, all change. Yeah, definitely feeling an energy of things being shed there. We've got card number 11 with sun, paint the sun back into your sky. I love this. Some of you may be artists of some sort. Okay, we've got receiving, card number 27. I love this card from this deck. It's a Lana Fairchild deck. Okay, we've got Rhiannon, Goddess Rhiannon, card number 38, Goddess of Night and Dreams. And finally, we've got Mushroom Magic with communication, exploring new states of consciousness, untapped potential. Yes. Yeah, so part number 3, I feel like, you've definitely been going through, it. You've definitely been going through a bit of a death and rebirth process, shedding something, so letting go of things that are old. Like I see some of you maybe decluttering, throwing away old things, getting rid of things from like past partners or something like that, or like just old energy, old clothes, things that don't fit you anymore. I feel like you're going through quite a transformation, quite a rebirth. Things are changing for you. Maybe you're thinking about moving house, or kind of starting again. There's like a new beginning, a fresh approach, a rebirth that's happening for you. There's some kind of change that's happening for you, some kind of movement that's coming for you with that Goddess Rhiannon on the horse. You know, that gives me like chariot vibes, which the chariot card in tarot often talks about movement, actually like can be physical movement, like moving house, but it can also just mean the energy of like taking the reins of your life and moving forward, progressing something. So with paint the sun back into your sky, I feel like maybe you've definitely been through a bit of a dark period, or a bit of a like winter period where there hasn't been a lot of light in your life. Things have been quite heavy, stagnant. You might have been through a dark night of the soul, or through some kind of loss, or some kind of like just negative situation. Possibly, I'm definitely picking up a vibe of someone who might have gone through a breakup, and now you're in this new phase as part of this rebirth of like painting your sun back in the sky. So like I feel like one of the new beginnings that's coming to you is like getting back in touch with hobbies and things that you used to do that you haven't done for a while, that help you feel that sense of sun and help you connect with like a sense of your inner light, your inner creative spark. So it doesn't have to be something as directly creative as painting, though it may well be for some of you. It could just be finding ways to express yourself in some way. So it could be through dancing, it could be through music, it could be through cooking, it could be through just socializing with friends. I'm seeing, this is a very specific image. I'm seeing someone going like go-kart racing. That's really specific. Also like flower arranging, botany, gardening, things like that. Things that maybe were old hobbies that you haven't done for a while. And it could be that you haven't done them because it's been like winter, or maybe you've been living in a place where you haven't been able to do that, right? And now you're thinking of moving so that you can be closer to friends again, or closer to, places where you can do these hobbies, where you can pick these things up. But there's an energy of like having this new beginning and focusing on yourself and like taking the steps to proactively find what makes you happy, and find what lights you up, and find what brings like sun and warmth back into your life after a very sort of stagnant or dark or still period. It's like the sun is coming back in. You're shifting from being sort of in the dark to coming back into the light. And you're shifting into an energy as well with this receiving card of being in this very receptive energy of being able to receive all the good that the universe is trying to bring in for you, all the warmth and the light and the blessings and the abundance. Because you can see there's a lot of green and sort of olivey green color around the outside, and then a lot of like golden yellow here, which is linked with the solar plexus, which is all about like you're feeling confident to shine your light, like tapping into your inner sun, your inner warmth, your inner radiance, and radiating that out, and then magnetizing things as a result of like really standing in that energy. So I feel like you are going to be receiving the things that it's like she's kind of sending a wish out into the world. She's kind of blowing on these like seeds or something and sending this wish out into the universe. And you're going to be receiving those wishes that you've sent out as a result of all the transformation work and the death and rebirth and the shedding that you've had to go through, all the loss that you've gone through, all the letting go of things, all the decluttering, or the energetic decluttering, right? Like maybe you've done a lot of like letting go of emotions, letting go of old traumas, letting go of ideas that have been holding you back. Because we've also got exploring new states of consciousness, untapped potential. So I do feel like there's something here around like having the confidence to step into the light and to tap into your true and fullest potential that you maybe haven't been able to do up to this point because of whatever this thing was that you had to shed, or whatever and that could be, it doesn't have to even be another person, that could be an old identity of yourself, that could be, you could have gone through a bit of an ego death recently, so that could have been like your ego that was keeping you stuck, or just a version of yourself, a certain identity that was keeping you stuck in something, or keeping you in a stagnant position or something like that. Like I'm kind of seeing someone in a very gray job, like where they have to wear gray suits and go to like a gray office, and it's very formal, and and I'm not saying this to say like, oh my gosh, why did you do that, or that's a terrible thing, like the energy that I'm picking up is someone who was quite lethargic as a result of that job, and didn't have a lot of like light or sun in their life. And I feel like you're now kind of throwing off, you're shedding the shackles of that old identity. It's not to say like necessarily, oh, you should quit that job. Like maybe not, like maybe it's still doing that, but then on the weekends or in the evenings or something, coming home, changing into overalls and getting the paint out, you know, and painting your room, or painting, you know, doing a painting, or like creating something, or writing, or, you know, something like that. It's kind of like finding you're waking up energy to create this new beginning for yourself, so that you can receive it's like you can receive the joy and the warmth and the radiance from the sun. It's like the sun has been blocked. It's been like night for you. It's like it's just been winter for so long, and it's like this new period. And especially if you are in the southern hemisphere, you can really channel the energy of, you know, going through Imbolc and into spring and summer. You can align with that and work with that energy and use it in a really potent way to, like, you know, to really wake up to your warmth. Because it's like we've got this, she's just starting to paint the sun. She's just starting to find the light again and paint it in. It's sort of like half a sun, but here it's like, you know, almost the full orb behind her. It's like feeling into the warmth that sun would give her. With the number 11, this is about alignment. So some of you might have been seeing 1111 quite a lot, but I feel like this hobby, whatever it is, if it is, you know, it could be literally painting, or some kind of creative hobby, or something that just helps you feel that, like, it's like taking action to feel that sun in your life again. So I'm hearing like the type of thing that your sun sign might like to do. So I'll use myself as an example. I'm a Taurus sun, and I love eating. And I love nature, and I love like kind of nice things. So one of the things that I did that was actually very healing for me when I went through an awful breakup years and years ago, was to kind of like in order to like kind of dispel some of that darkness, was to like reconnect with my inner sun by doing kind of things that were like my sun sign type things, which I am a very like typical Taurus. So for you, you might be like, yeah, but I'm a Gemini and I don't really connect with Gemini sun traits or things, you know. That's fine. It may just be that you have to, like, you know, go more with what you internally feel. But just as an example, for some of you, this could be helpful. This could be a thing that could be a little bit healing, or just help you kind of like find that spark of light again, or find that bit of sun in your life. And for me, it really worked. I actually went to Paris and for a short period, and had lots of lovely food and took in all the beauty. And Paris for me is just such a tourist place. And it really helped. Like, did it heal everything? No. Did it like completely transform me? Like, maybe not, but it did a bit, and it did help, and it did like help me shed some of that old identity of, you know, from being in that particular connection that was quite damaging to me, and like find myself again, find my sun, find my identity, because that was something that I loved. So I think perhaps more pertinently, it's not necessarily so much like, oh, do a thing that your sun sign would like. It's just like, do something that you used to do that you haven't done for a long time that you really, really love. Or go to a place that you used to love, like travel there if you can afford to, or can make that happen. Or do a hobby, or like, you know, even if, like, say for example, you love French stuff, say you're a Francophile like me, and you love French food or French things, but you can't go to Paris right now, or to France. That's not within the realm of possibility. But you can go to a French restaurant or something like that. You know, it's that kind of thing. It's like thinking outside the square, figuring out ways to like reconnect with that part of yourself before you went through this sort of stagnant period, or this difficult period, and like finding ways to like reconnect with that inner light again, that inner passion, that inner spark, that inner sun. Like, what do you love to do? and also maybe trying something outside of the box as well, because with that exploring new states of consciousness, I'm just getting someone doing like mushrooms or something, which I'm not advocating, by the way. So only if you already do. I believe there's various things out now about mushrooms being taken medicinally to help with anxiety and stuff, possibly. I'm not really sure. You can comment below if you know more about that. But the point is that this is about like thinking in a new way, thinking in a fresh way, taking a fresh look at life, like looking at how you can do things differently, like changing your routine up a bit, trying new hobbies, going back to old things you used to love to do, exploring new states of consciousness, like maybe doing different kinds of meditations that help you get into a different state of consciousness, might help you, you know, like change your perspective on your life. Because I'm kind of getting an energy of someone who's maybe felt a bit lethargic for a long time, or maybe been a little bit depressed. And that could be because of, you could have seasonal affective disorder, which I always get in winter in the UK because it's so grey here for so long. And there's just not enough sun, and I have to do a lot of things to try and not get depressed, essentially. So you could be like that. So it could just be, no, I don't say just be like it's a minimal thing. I mean, like it could be seasonal affective disorder. It could be actual depression. It could be situational depression. It could be dark night of the soul. Whatever it is, there's a sort of a flat energy that I picked up that you might have been going through in the past. And this need to like find that spark again, get into a state of receiving, listening to your dreams as well. So maybe recording, you might be having a lot of dreams, or like just reconnecting with the dreams that you had when you were younger. Because I feel like, yeah, you have a lot of potential to do something, or to do the dreams that you want, or to like take control of your life, take the reins of your life, and move towards what you want, to progress and travel towards what you want. So maybe this is, I just said travel then, so maybe some of you want to go traveling, because horses are symbolic of movement and travel. So that's another one, actually, coming back to the sun sign thing. If you're Sagittarius and maybe you've been stuck in a job for too long, and actually your soul is just like, come on, man, we've got to travel. Like, we're Sagittarians. We're the horse of the zodiac. Like, get out in the world. And it's like, that part of your sun is like, your inner sun is pulling you to express itself in that way. So yeah, maybe going traveling, and that also helps you to like, you know, exploring new states of consciousness. You meet different people, you connect with the new types of people with different kinds of consciousness in different cities or different countries, and, you know, explore new ways of living and new ideas for things. So it's kind of like mixing it up a bit, getting creative, trying new things. That's the kind of energy, taking a fresh look at life. Like, and fluorite crystal could be very helpful for that. It can help you like refresh your mind, clear out any sort of anxiety or depression or cloudy thinking or heavy thinking, and just give you like a clear, fresh, serene, calm, it's just kind of like a very clear, fresh perspective on things, or a very clear, fresh perspective on your life. I think that crystal will really, really help. So let's finish up with a daily ritual card. What daily ritual can pile 3 do? Woo. Intuition. Beautiful. I am in tune with my soul's inner knowing. Yeah, so connecting with your intuition will help guide you towards, like, you know, what it is, what your dreams are, what your potential is, what, you know, if there's a new beginning waiting for you, if there's some country you're meant to go to, some hobby you're meant to do, some person you're meant to meet, something like that. some form of creative expression, really connecting in with your intuition, whether that's through like just it could be a form of divination, it could be a stream of consciousness journaling, it could be through meditation, it could be through yoga. I often find I get a lot of like clear intuitive hits after I've done a yoga session, because it's like, you know, it's like a clear slate. That could also help actually refreshing your mind, doing something like yoga, and helping you to tap into other sort of states of consciousness as well. But yeah, anything you can do to connect with your intuition, to connect with your third eye, will help you with this new beginning, this fresh look at life, this painting the sun back in your sky, going through this transformation. Okay, I feel like that is all the messages I have for you today. Thank you so much for letting me read for you, pile 3. Leave me a comment below if this resonated. I always love to hear from you. Hit the like button if you resonated with the reading. It helps tell me which content is you guys are enjoying at the moment. It helps tell the YouTube algorithm to send my videos around, which helps my little channel to grow. I so appreciate each and every one of you who has been doing that for me. It really helps me so much. Thank you. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already part of the community. I would love to have you here, and it helps tell me like who is in the community, so I can draw on, connect with your energy when I am creating the readings. Hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when I next upload a reading. Thank you so much for being here. All the best with your Imbolc, and I will see you in the next reading. All my love. Bye.